What's up, y'all? This is BJ the Chicago Kid, and you know, and you better forever know that I got soul. Peace.
All right, you know I got soul. Back once again with BJ the Chicago Kid. What's going on, man?
What's good, brother?
Doing good. Just want to get started here. What we like to ask all of our guests, just to start out with, just talk about an R&B album from the 90s or the 2000s that you would say truly inspired you or influenced you growing up.
I would say an album that truly inspired me from the 90s or early 2000s is what could I say? Which one could I pick? I would say the Usher album Confessions definitely did.
Yep.
I think Donnell Jones, the last album he put out, the Where I Wanna Be album.
Right.
What else? The Chocolate Factory album was sick to us. TP2.com was sick to us.
Yep.
What else was dope to us? Chicago 1985, the movie, Dave Hollister was sick to us.
Yep.
What else? Any Jodeci album, yeah.
Right. I know you give Jodeci a lot of shout outs, you know, throughout interviews. What is it about them that you love so much?
What? Are you serious? That's the question you asked about Jodeci? Come on, man. Everything, bro.
Right.
Man.
Well, let's get started talking about the album 1123. Came out a couple of months ago. Just talk about the approach for this project, because I did notice it was a little bit different than the debut. But what was your mindset going into it?
To just give the people another dimension of who BJ is. No album should ever be the same. If so, you could go back and buy the first album over again, or you already have it. It's a must that we be different every album.
Right. Just talk about the mindset, because you did come off a Grammy-nominated album with your debut. You were gone for 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know, in the industry, that feels like a long time, but you came back with this project. Just talk about what the mentality was creatively.
I just want to have fun, man. Music is something that I always do every day, so it's nothing like I have to pump myself up to do this or anything like that. This is one of the most easiest flowing things in my life.
Yeah, and then in terms of the production, I think it was a lot more fun than your debut. Hooked up with Cool and Dre, Danger, just to name a couple. Was that intentional, just to make it more fun?
BJ is fun. Again, another dimension of BJ is something that you wouldn't know until I give it to you. So that's something that I always try to give it to you when I can, and the best way I can. But anybody that know me know I'm fun when the energy is right.
Yeah, and a record that kind of surprised me on the record was Champagne, which was produced by Danger, written by Rico Love.
That's the song they hear now, right?
That's the song right there. Just talk about that one, because that isn't necessarily a song I would expect from you, but you pulled it off and it was great.
I didn't pull it off. I do that shit, man. Use your words wisely.
Yeah, right.
Again, when I give you another dimension, I'm teaching you something about me, so you can't act like you know what you're learning about.
Right.
When you're in school, you sitting in a student's desk because you're a student, not a teacher. So your mental must be different when you're learning about somebody and you're getting to know somebody. If you think you know it all, just go to a different class and teach something else.
Right. And then just talk about that record that you had with Afrojack. I think that was, to a lot of R&B fans, that was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Afrojack is a good friend and an incredible producer, DJ, teacher. He taught us so much. We learned so much in the studio with him, but he learned so much from us too, from our style and how we do what we do. So shout out to Afrojack. Reach is one of those records that will continue to live forever.
Right. Now Feel the Vibe. That's the one that everyone's been talking about. Mm-hmm. You got to tell me about the studio session for that, because number one, I love the vibe on that song, and then just the topic of that song, the subject matter. We don't hear that in R&B that much anymore. So just take me through that studio session.
If you love that song, that's why I think it's very helpful to listen to the music with an open mindset. When people say my name, they say Grammy nominated BJ the Chicago Kid, but they have to listen with those same ears that they speak those words with, because it allows you to understand a little bit more about me. This is only my second album on Motown, and Motown is the first label I've ever been on. So there's still a long journey to go. I think because the first ride and the first level was so amazing within my mind, and it captured people, and it was very magnetic. I think it kind of spoiled people in a sense. And then my absence and me living life and creating music in the meantime and experiencing other things, I think it all goes hand in hand of people remembering that I'm one of those special kind of artists. I'm not an artist that comes in and give you the bubblegum shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My shit is real. Whether I come 7 years later,
right?
I'm a Prince. I'm a D'Angelo. I'm of that caliber. I'm not of a microwavable type of artist. And I think this industry has to continue to remember that.
Right. And of course, you have Anderson .Paak on the song. How did you decide on him for the track?
That's my brother, man. Me and AP, anytime we get together, it's fun, laughs, good times, whether a microphone is around or not. So it makes it really cool when we're actually able to capture magic and make some cool music. Shout out to Danger and Anderson .Paak for sure.
Right. And of course, Barack Obama actually put that song in his playlist for the summer.
Exactly.
That was pretty dope. How did that make you feel?
Super cool, man. I was in Japan when I found out, so when I read it, I was like, yo, this is really cool. He continues to support us, and I will definitely forever support him.
Right. Now, of course, you have a record with Offset on the album, and I'll tell you, as R&B fans, we're always concerned when our R&B acts collaborate with these new age hip hop artists because you just don't know what you're gonna get. But for this song, it sounds like it's in the BG Chicago Kid realm.
Everything I do is in my realm. I think my fans can hear if I'm comfortable or uncomfortable.
Right.
So I think just the judgmental shit should stop.
Right.
They could kiss my ass with that.
Right.
Like they could kiss my nuts with that.
Right.
I am who I am, man. If I haven't proved the cloth that I'm from yet, I feel like they should just unplug and not fuck with me.
Right.
I only do high level shit, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Now, what is the key to collaborating with hip hop artists and just making sure that the essence of BG the Chicago Kid is still there?
It's so many elements of myself that people don't know.
Yeah.
It's so many elements of myself that I'm yet learning as well. But it was a dope move for my label.
Oh, okay. Cool. And another record you have on there, you covered the LMA record Close. Put your own spin on it, and I love it. And what I love is that not only do you love 90s R&B like we talked about earlier, but you keep up with today's stuff. And for a lot of R&B listeners, fans, we try to listen to the new stuff. It's tough. It really is, because we always compare it back to the 90s. Yeah. How do you keep up to date with it? What's your mentality when you listen to new stuff?
I love to listen to what's magnetic, like I like to make it, Yeah. I love to be drawn into something amazing. And I think a lot of artists I've known before, they put out a single that the world got to know them for. So I really just been waiting for the world to understand what we've always been understanding as well. Right. So it's really cool to find amazing people, period, and then they later on become something great that is in the same genre as you, the same field as you, and it becomes incredible. You guys do more incredible stuff together. I think that's what it's all about.
Right. And speaking of 90s R&B, which we've talked about a bit, one thing that we don't necessarily hear as much in today's music industry when it comes to R&B, bridges. Don't hear a lot of those anymore. And I know some of it is just because of the industry wants shorter songs, kind of helps with the streaming and all of that. How do you kind of maneuver through your career when it comes to all of that? Because you're a traditional R&B guy. You grew up on R&B. You know where it came from, but now you have to maneuver through this industry. Like, what's the game plan there?
It's all about a feeling. I mean, a lot of things that say for instance, let's just use Travis Scott for an example, right?
Sure.
And we see the whole Astral World thing with the flow of how the marketing and promotion has been insane, right?
Yeah.
It probably all started from an idea, man.
Yeah. That's
what it comes from. And I think the moment we stop looking at things like it's more than starting as an idea, the more we can actually be better. It's a saying that I say, stop trying to be someone that you could be better than. And I think it's all about perspective. If we don't kiss their ass so much, we can actually see the space that we can be better than them in.
Right.
And a lot of people just kiss ass so much instead of seeing their own greatness, and that kind of hinders us from being all amazing.
Right. Now let's talk about promotion when it comes to R&B. I'll tell you, one of the hardest things for me as an R&B fan, I'll see some of my favorite artists put out music and it just kind of falls on deaf ears. Now it's tough to promote an R&B project. How do you kind of look at that for your own career? Because it must be tough to look at your peers. They put out great music, but it doesn't get the same attention that a hip-hop project gets.
Yeah, I mean, R&B has definitely taken a long growth spurt even since my entry into the game. But it has grown so much to the point where, I mean, it's grown to the point where we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So it is growing, and I think the growth is important, but it will continue to grow. There's many more artists that actually put out quality music that helps it grow, and they water those plants as well. So all of these collective artists continue to help this same thing grow and be more popular by the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we spoke to Bridget Kelly not too long ago, and we were just reflecting back to that R&B period from like 2012 to 2015. Okay. I feel like that was probably the hardest time to be an R&B act.
Very true. Exactly.
That was right before those social media artists came into place on the Instagram and all that. Just you were one of the ones to break through from that era, and here you are now. First of all, just talk about the challenges from that era, from your perspective, and how you were able to pull through?
Honestly, man, those days it was less pressure than it is today. Or when I say less pressure, I mean less to think about.
Right.
Those days I just simply did what I did and didn't care about anything about it.
Yeah.
And knowing that I was inspired by only true inspiration, I think it allowed what to come out was pure. I think it allowed the product to come pure, and anybody else that touched it had to be pure to continue that process of the purity. But a lot of things that are done now and just popular now, I was doing then,
Right.
From singing in random places with acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Me and Maestro Nose was doing that. Me and Levi Maestro was doing that for years. I mean, to continue to do it now, sometimes I feel weird doing it because I feel like I'm walking back into my, earlier self. I just need to find new cool ways to do things that I've already been doing that they're late doing. Those are some of the things that allow people to take into my music and want to work with me with songs, or want to work with me on a live stage, or want to work with me in the studio. From the likes of Kendrick Lamar to Travis Scott to Dom Kennedy to from the underground artists to the forefront artists. I think it's always been a magnetic thing that I've released, but I think it's only been because I've been steadfast, but I've also chose to grow within those times. I didn't let those times change me for the bad. I continue to grow with them. I continue to learn from it. I continue to give it my all, because when you give it your all in your worst times, it continues to build those bricks to make that fortress, that castle, that city, that state, that world that you're trying to build of your own. You know what I mean? You continue to lay those bricks. So never stop. That's one of the things the Nip said. The marathon continues. Never stop.
Right.
Yeah.
And then lastly, BJ, I just got to give you a shout out for posting on Instagram every so often. You'll post an R&B song, a classic R&B song, just to remind people of the great music from the past.
Yeah.
One of the conversations we always have with artists and with listeners is, we got to adapt with the times. We got to evolve. But how do you evolve without taking out the essence of what R&B is? Because when I listen to a lot of R&B songs, like I mentioned, with the lack of bridges, some of it's even just the vocal capabilities. You don't necessarily have to sing like KC anymore.
True.
How do you, what's the key to maintaining that essence? Because it feels like now it's become so saturated.
It's got to be in you, not on you, man.
Right.
This music is a business, but it starts with something that you have that you're naturally amazing at. Something that won't leave you alone. Something that makes you forget to eat. Something that steals your sleep. You know what I'm saying? Something that steals you away from your family and friends, and you're stuck in front of this computer or this TV being amused by what you're seeing or what you're digesting into your system. That's what this thing starts from. So this thing doesn't start from you seeing somebody singing you want to sing. It's already in you. If it's not in you, you're not built to do this shit.
Right.
So this is not a business of that caliber like McDonald's.
Fair
Soul
enough.
music, R&B music, you're chosen. It chooses you. You don't choose it.
Right, absolutely. So, BJ, that's all that I've got for you. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Respect. I'm good, man. 1123 is available everywhere right now that you could possibly buy music. The 1123 tour is definitely everywhere right now.